Hello everyone, my name is Clay, and welcome to another episode of Terminally Nerdy's Indie Impressions, the show where I take a look at independent and non-AAA titles, giving you my quick first impressions after at least 2 hours of gameplay. Because if 2 hours is good enough for Steam refunds, well, it's good enough for me. Today, I'm going to be looking at the sequel to the last game I reviewed, or impressions, whatever you want to call it. This is Steamworld Dig 2. I'm going to start this video by specifically mentioning something I forgot to mention in Steamworld Dig 1. And that was how I felt about the visuals and the audio in that game. And the reason I forgot to mention them is, quite frankly, they're pretty average to me. They're not great, but they're not terrible. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is specifically because Steamworld Dig 2 improved on both those aspects a great deal. In Steamworld Dig 2, you are again playing a robot. This time you're playing the shop, or actually the person you were selling to in the last game. And you're going around chasing after the main character of the first game, Rusty, trying to figure out what happened, because at the end of Steamworld Dig 1, he vanishes. He runs off. So she decides to chase after him, and she ends up in this town. A lot more NPCs in this town. There's a lot more dialogue. The areas are way more varied than they were in the first game. In the first game, you had basically 3 biomes, and then you were done. In this game, you have multiple biomes, you have temples, you have outdoor areas, you've got the standard underground, all sorts of crazy stuff. It's a lot more visually appealing. The colors are more vibrant, everything pops more. It's just a better looking game. Also, the animations for both the enemies and the player are more varied. Which is good, because, you know, this game is actually longer. I've played this game for something like 5.5, 6 hours now, and I'm still not done with it. Whereas the other game, I hit like 3 hours, and I hit the final boss. Also, the music in this game is phenomenal. I found myself a few times just standing around in town, just listening to the town theme. And each biome in each area has its own theme. So, you know, it's basically an improvement. In fact, the best way I can describe Steamworld Dig 2 is Steamworld Dig 1, but way, way better. Like in Steamworld Dig 2, you immediately get, really early, the dash, the run. You get a grapple hook instead of a double jump, which is fantastic. You basically get like a hook shot, essentially. The weapons you get are much more interesting. So you still have your pickaxe, but you also then get a grenade launcher, which is sticky grenades, which eventually you can get an upgrade to turn them into actual, like, grenades. And then instead of a drill, you get a jackhammer fist. So the same kind of equipment, but it works differently, and it's a lot better. You still can't shoot while jumping, but there are upgrades you can get in that. And that's another thing that this game improved upon from the last one, because the gameplay is the same. You're digging, up, down, left, right. You're mining for materials, and you're trying to complete quests going into doors. The gameplay itself hasn't really evolved, other than the fact that you have a grapple hook instead of a double jump, which is great. But what they've evolved here is things like the upgrade system. So while you still buy upgrades, you also have these things called cogs. Cogs, you collect them in different areas in the level, and then you can go to a guy in town and actually install them into your equipment. So, for example, your bag, you can install cogs into your bag to unlock an upgrade that lets you sell instead of throwing things away, or lets you stack multiple gemstones on top of each other instead of a gemstone taking up one space, things like that. And the really cool thing about the cog system is that none of it's permanent, in that you can just remove the cogs from an upgrade if you no longer want it. So, like, I no longer need to carry 2 gemstones per slot instead of 1, so I can take the cogs out of that upgrade and put them into something else. And there's a huge list of upgrades. Additionally, they've tied in the collectibles, which are these artifacts, into that upgrade system. Some of the upgrades that you can unlock with cogs require blueprints that you get at random from this dude that you go to every time you find a certain number of artifacts, and it progressively gets more. It's like, oh, you find 3 artifacts, you get 1 blueprint. You find 6 artifacts, you get another one, etc. It's cumulative. All this is wrapped around a story that is fairly interesting. You're trying to figure out what the hell Rusty is doing, And the actual bots that you talk to have a ton of personality. It's actually a lot of fun to go into town after each run to see if they have anything new to say. Basically, I am in love with Steamworld Dig 2. It is exactly what I wish Steamworld Dig would have been. This is the game that took that formula that they had early on and just improved upon it in literally every way. And if you liked 1 and you wish it was longer, you need to play 2. And I dare say if you're going to play any of the Steamworld Dig games, just skip 1 and play 2. It is easily worth the $20 that it runs. It is also available on the 3DS. It's probably a really good buy for that system. I'm not sure how the touch controls work. I've considered picking it up for my 3DS, but I haven't yet. So I absolutely recommend Steamworld Dig 2, 100%. It is well worth your time, well worth your money. It is a ton of fun in a very colorful world. Now, the next video after this one, the next game we're doing, is finally going to be Dead Cells. God help me, I'm in love with that game. Way more than I thought I would, so I will see you then when I talk Dead Cells. As always, if you like what I'm doing, please feel free. Hit that like button, leave a comment, tell me what you thought of this video. Have you played Steamworld Dig 2? How do you feel about the Steamworld games in general? There's now Dig 1, Dig 2, Heist, and Quest. Is there any indie games that you want to see me take a look at for this video series? Please let me know in the comments. I'm happy to take viewer suggestions. If you want to support me on Patreon, for $2 a month you get early access to these videos the instant I finish them. So if you don't want to wait every 2 weeks for these to drip feed into you, $2 a month, you can get them as soon as I finish them, along with all my writing early, some discounts, and other stuff. It's patreon.com/terminallynerdy. Yeah, and I've got all my socials in the description box, so click anywhere in there, explore what I've got going on. And as always, thanks for watching, and remember, stay nerdy, everybody.